Hey everybody, Kartik, Subramaniam over at ADHI Schools. Wanted to do a quick video. Yesterday we had a real estate practice class in Santa Monica, and we're talking about the purchase contract and a buyer's ability to cancel. And we got into a great discussion about under what circumstances can your buyer kind of pull the plug and cancel the transaction. Now, there's a lot of ways for a buyer to get out of a contract during their contingency period. But there's really four fundamental contingencies in the current iteration of the purchase contract. And the best way for you to remember these is just the acronym DIAL, or the word DIAL, D-I-A-L. DIAL stands for disclosure, inspection, appraisal, and loan. Disclosure, inspection, appraisal, and loan. These are the four fundamental contingencies in the residential purchase agreement in California. The first one, look at the D, disclosure. The seller is going to have to give the buyer, generally within 7 days of acceptance of the contract, all the disclosures, everything that the seller knows or should know is wrong with the property. Whether someone died on the property in the last 3 years, any insurance claims on the property in the last 5 years, the physical condition of the property, are there any neighborhood noise or nuisance problems? And the buyer is going to have 17 days from the date of acceptance to review all those disclosures. Look at the I, an inspection contingency. The buyer has the right to do a home inspection, get a seismic report, a geologic report to make sure that the property is sound. They can get a roofer out there to inspect the roof within the first 17 days. There's an appraisal contingency where if you have the property in escrow at $700,000 and the appraisal comes in lower than $700,000, the buyer can either try to renegotiate their position, the buyer can cut a check for the difference, or the buyer can cancel the transaction. There's also a loan contingency that gives the buyer 17 calendar days from acceptance to make sure their loan goes as planned. So there's four major outs for a buyer in the purchase contract: disclosure, inspection, appraisal, and loan. And we can remember these by the word DIAL, right? D-I-A-L. And now, of course, we're not in the business of finding ways to kill transactions, but those are the four fundamental contingencies that are in the purchase contract. Now, what if the buyer wants to cancel after they've removed the contingencies? So 17 days has gone by, the buyer has signed a document removing the contingencies, and then the buyer wants to cancel, just for whatever reason. The buyer may lose their deposit or potentially even worse. So, I could do a whole day or more on this. I don't want to bore you with all this stuff, but I did want to just take a moment to talk about DIAL, disclosure, inspection, appraisal, and loan, as the four fundamental contingencies in the residential purchase agreement. And the buyer has, by default, 17 calendar days from the date of acceptance to conduct these inspections and review the disclosures, get their loan wrapped up, and make sure the property appraises at no less than the purchase price. Anyway, talk to you guys soon. Any questions, let me know. And we will see you guys in class next week. I know it's December, I know the temptations to kind of play hooky and not come to class, but remember, we are still open, our office is still working, we are committed even through the holiday season. So if you need anything, my number's at the bottom of the screen. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.